Hello, everybody. This is Dissident Science Live. Hey, that was a new intro. I hope you like that. Keep working on those things. I'm going to be using that one or similar one to it, obviously not live, for my new videos coming out. I've got a few stingers out there. I've been helping other people with their stingers. But tonight I'm going to be talking about something that's pretty interesting, and that is something I've been sort of following a little bit a little bit more in the last couple of years, and that is sort of the legacy of Einstein. Is it really starting to fade? And I really do think, in fact, it is. Oh, my glasses are crooked here. But you know what? We all have crooked faces, so that's what happens. But anyways, when I was since I made my movie, I'm not speaking too well here tonight, but since I made my movie, the documentary Einstein Wrong, The Miracle Year, I started that. Actually, the plan was I started in 2003, 2004 with the idea. One of the people I was working with actually suggested that I do that movie. He says, well, I was saying somebody should do a movie on all of these amazing scientists that I'm talking about right now. And someone turned to me, a friend of mine who's actually was in LA, is in the movie scene or the television scene, the media, whatever the scene today. In fact, he's got a bunch of kids. He's out there going around doing auditions and all kinds of stuff. A good guy. But he turned to me when I was working at this one software company. He says, Dave, why don't you do it? And I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a minute. I made films when I was a kid. I really liked making films. I got my dad gave me a 8mm film camera that was actually wind up 8mm. You can do color film with it, and you could do stop motion. And I made this quite long film, not long, 15-minute film when I was, I think, 10 or 11. And I really fell in love with making films. Of course, that was way before videos and all the things we have today. My goodness. And then, of course, when I started my movie, it was the case that my film camera. Well, here it is. I'll show it to you. Look at this thing. Oh my goodness. I mean, this is a Panasonic DMX 100A, and I was looking at it, and I mean, it's quite a nice camera. Got a nice lens on it. Oops, thing's falling off of it. It's got dust all over it, and this doesn't even shoot high def. At the time when I bought this, which wasn't that long ago, folks, you can see it's got a really nice mechanics on this 3CCD. This was almost $4,000 in the year 2000, at the end of 2004. Started using it in 2005. The viewfinder inside, which of course works really well because when it's light out, you can really see it. It was a very good camera, but it wasn't even wide. Wasn't 16 by 9 ratio, sort of the cinematic one. It was 4:3, and it shot on the one good thing. It was shooting on tape, but it was digital, meaning you shouldn't lose any value to that. Shouldn't lose any quality, which of course you would get with videotapes. And so I shot on that, and then of course once I shot the tape, I had to digitize all those tapes, and I actually sent those to someone to digitize. It was quite an amazing thing, and at the time they did have high def cameras, and those were around $35,000. I'm not kidding. 2005 high defs were going $25,000-$30,000 for a camera, and they were talking about, oh, maybe someday we'll be able to shoot digitally, and today this phone is way better than my whole film. Well, not the whole film, actually. So if you watch my film, you'll see that it's sort of cropped at 4:3, and then it goes to 16:9, EinsteinWrong.com. You can go see that. And in fact, that is something that really doesn't matter in the end, because when you watch the film, and when we screened it for the regular audiences, and lots of probably thousands of people have seen it now, people get into the story. And if it's well shot, it's got great music, it's well edited, it keeps your attention. People real quickly forget that, oh, it's not high def. They get into the story, and you get in story mode. So I decided to make it the 4:3, but then I would go to 16:9 when I did graphics, and I did the graphics myself, and turned out quite nice. But during this whole time, it was the case that I was seeing already in the film that Einstein's legacy seemed to be not as it really seemed. Not even politically, but scientifically. And I started thinking about that just recently, actually in the last year or two, more or less when I started this channel, because we're on social media, hello everybody, I got to get everybody here. Hey, we're live, it says right there. And great to see you guys. I appreciate you coming. Sorry about last week, things happen, sometimes they can't get out. But what I started to think about was, where are we today with Einstein? People, even I would say in the last 10 years, saying Einstein isn't correct, at least outside the mainstream, is not such a crazy thing anymore. People are not so taken aback if you meet somebody who says, well, I don't think Einstein's correct. If you're in the bubble of big science, of course, a lot of people will say that. But there's actually quite a few people in physics that, they're not big fans of either Einstein or a lot of these theoretical things. And that's why you see lots of physicists, well, the majority of physicists are going into practical applications of physics, because they just think the theory people are off their rocker, a lot of them. So anyways, I was looking at I think a really interesting statistic, and I'm going to see if I can bring this up. And that is, I noticed, and I followed in the beginning of my YouTube channel, the Facebook with hello, Dave. Hope you are well. Hey, Greg Stewart. Pleased to meet. Hey, see you, Lambda. Thanks for coming, you guys. But Facebook has, of course, an Albert Einstein page. And I always thought that was sort of curious. I was on Facebook really early on, when it pretty much started, because when anything new starts, I usually try to jump on board, get my names, and get the things all sort of registered there. And of course, with time, I was looking at, okay, well, are there people on Facebook that are involved with people outside of mainstream science? How about and mainstream science? And one, of course, I looked up, and I don't know how I got across it, but I got across Albert Einstein. I saw that, in fact, somebody registered his name, and I actually think that the person who sort of registered the Albert Einstein wasn't really a big Einstein person. This is my guess, okay? Because I've been watching this page for a long time, and I didn't see any real evidence other than someone registered the name and then realized that they had a marketing prospect on their hands. Because in no time, as Facebook really became more popular, and that was a sort of a slow process in the beginning, they gathered lots, and actually millions and millions of people who have liked his page. Now, again, my feeling is the person who did that was just basically like a person, what we call a cyber squatter, or something of that nature, which is, oh, I'll buy the domains. When the domains were coming out, people were buying some domains which people thought was really stupid. Why would you buy book.com? People were trying to make, well, no one will, that's too generic. In the very beginning of the internet, I'm talking about in the early 1990s. And so people are like, and I even registered carnival.org, which is turned out to be probably one of the names that we have, that I have personally, that turned out to have a little bit of worth, but not much. But people, when were basically, I'm going to register Einstein. No one's doing that. Albert Einstein, get the Albert Einstein. So that person squatted on that one, and they started doing stuff, and they became clever. I'm not sure if a person was a marketing person or was just a person who did it, and then realized they got up to the peak of 19 million. I'm not sure if it hit 20 million. There is a website where you can look at, I'm going to show you, but there's a website where you can look at the statistics of these webs, the likes and all that, and the flows every day. I use that myself to look at my website because of the subscribers that go up and down. I can find out, I've been gaining subscribers, and if you're new, thank you very much for subscribing. I've got a lot of great things coming down the pike, so you want to stay subscribed. But you can see here that it's 19,319,000. Now you're probably asked, why, Dave, do you care about all this? Well, I think one of the reasons is because a person like Einstein represents one of the biggest problems in modern mainstream science and mainstream anything almost, and that is the fame is greater than the content. And now you have this person who squatted on this. And at the time, I think it was about a year and a half ago when I first started my channel. I think I was only in the hundreds of subscribers, maybe less than 200 subscribers. In the beginning, it goes slow. Now we're going much faster. But the person who had this channel, this Facebook page, there was a Nat Geo special called Genius, and it was this big production about Albert Einstein again. I don't know what it is. I think what happens is people who are like in Hollywood who try to claim that they understand big science get a bee under their bonnet that they want to produce some great thing about Einstein, and he's really misunderstood. No one understands him. Even today, they don't know what he did. No one understands the practical things that Einstein's done. Well, they don't understand that the reason for that all that is because his theories are paradoxical, both special and general relativity. His own fame was sort of launched because of something that was semi-bogus, the data that in 1919 with the eclipse, that nature in a short amount of time, I think it was in 2008, 2009, they said, yeah, well, maybe, that we really can't say that data was good data. Then afterwards, they sort of pulled back because they didn't want to. But the whole idea is that, he was a person that all these people who have been following Einstein, who look at Einstein, that sort of has been starting to erode. And when you look at, I think I do remember, what happened was there was it was Nat Geo did Genius. They really hyped it up on all the science channels. So this became like a huge event for the year. And it even was up for Emmy or whatever you call the things for TV, which, I'm just not into that. And I even made some memes. I'm going to see if I can find those for you. In fact, I'll play one. It's pretty cool. I tried to combat it, so it was really great. So I started going onto Einstein's Facebook page, and I noticed that the people of Nat Geo really basically took over this page for about a month and a half. So basically, here's a cyber squatter that comes in, gets onto Albert Einstein's Facebook page, gets lucky, and one of those people who just like a YouTube channel. There's one guy who makes YouTube videos about games. He's really, no offense, he's a nobody. Just happened to do it at the right place in the right time and sort of do things maybe for the first time, and now he's the most highest paid YouTuber on the planet. I think he made $12 million in 2017 or 2018. Well, this person realized that, and I'm sure they got money for allowing them to use this site for Nat Geo's Genius. This whole, where you see these equations for general relativity here that you see on this page, You never see the special relativity equations, because I think they stay away from those because those are a little bit more volatile. So these are okay because most people can recognize them if they know science, but if not, it's all right. But anyways, this whole thing changed and became like they realized that they could reach 19 million people who like Einstein on this Facebook page. And so this person probably made some money with that. And because of that, they're going, wow, we can do stuff, we can sell things, blah, 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 blah. And so there's this person, and they continue to upkeep this website. The only problem is I'm starting to see actual proof that the number of people liking this page is going down. In fact, I just started and I looked at this website. It's called socialblade.com. And basically, you can take a look at it and it'll tell you about people's YouTube channels, Facebook channel. I'm going to look at the Facebook channel for Albert Einstein, and I'm going to show you. No one had looked at that before. Curiously enough, socialblade.com is where you go to find out how pages are doing, because it's public information, how many subscribers people have, that kind of thing. And hey, I'll get to you guys. Hey, hello. I'm sorry, I've got people here saying hello. Hello, David. Einstein is fetishized, almost. Yep. They laud him as a super genius everywhere. They even preserve pieces of, yeah, his brain is in a jar. Yes, they did. Hi, David. Do you have any videos of John Chappelle? Keep asking me that. I have some videos, and I do have a VHS machine which I can digitize. So it's something I may need to look at some more. The Eddington data did not include the magical material dark matter on how it could have. So how could it be incorrect? Lambda. I'll continue my story here, but Lambda. Dark matter doesn't exist. Dark energy doesn't exist. That is my strong opinion. And if you talk to most people in the CNPS, we are very much in agreement that that isn't invented. Anytime you have something where you think something's not acting right and you invent something to explain it, like, oh, the orbit's wrong. I think maybe it came from orbits where the orbit was a little off. There must be another planet pulling on that, and then they find it. You'll have to go and look up dissident science, dark matter. We don't need dark matter. Even people like who I admire greatly, Dr. Glenn Borker, talks about it, and I think people like him even talk about it because they have a theory that they want to explain it, and they want to say, okay, they don't look at the glaring obvious point, which is the gravitational field of galaxies is not uniform, and because it's not uniform, our prediction as a spheric or one-point mass as a galaxy, and when we see the outer the velocity of the stars on the outer edge of a galaxy that are going too fast, we say, oh, there must be dark matter. No. If you calculate Newton's gravitational field in a non-uniform field, which it is not, and if you don't believe that, just shoot a probe right toward the center of the galaxy, and it's going to go past arms, and those arms are going to have bigger, greater gravitational field if you get closer to them. You ain't going to go in a straight line. If it were a uniform gravitational field, you'd go right for the center. You would have nothing pulling you one way or another, and we know that's just not a fact. So anyways, be careful. It's not Eddington's didn't have wrong answers because of dark matter. Dark matter was invented, and we can show, again, Newton can explain the phenomena. Newton! We don't even need Einstein. Okay, I was talking about Albert Einstein, so let's take a look at this. On this website, you can type in a YouTube channel, or in this case, a Facebook channel, and you can see its ranking, and then you can see statistics. And if you're the first person on this channel to ask about statistics, and they literally have statistics on millions of YouTube channels and millions of Facebook channels, those kinds of things, they go grab that information and put down so you can look at what's going on with your website or what's going on with others and other channels, and see how their subscribers are going, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to take a look at his Facebook page on right here on Social Blade. You can see that he has got a grade A. Well, of course, he's a genius. He's 398th rank in the number of likes they have, which is 19 million. I just did this 2 days ago. I typed it in, and no one had queried the Facebook of Albert Einstein. Now, if he's so darn popular, if he is the genius of the century, as Time magazine said, why is it that we have no one even coming to this website, which is really used by we YouTubers and people even in Facebook to see statistics? We don't have to look them up and say, "Whoa, can you graph my subscribers and all that?" Well, we can see that, and if you come down here, I just started it on Thursday, and it's the moment someone queries it, they make an entry into their database, and then they start clicking away about how many people are liking or disliking the page. Now you can see here that it has 19 million, used to have 20 million, 320,565. Going from Thursday to Friday today, well, really is their statistics runs whenever we hit that, so it was obviously before this time yesterday. They've lost 240 likes already. So if you look at their prediction, which they let's see, you can actually go and they don't have predictions, do they? Not on these. Oh, I thought they did. But anyways, it's a line down, but it's only for 2 days. But once they get more data, we'll be able to see. And my feeling and my guess is, because I've been watching that, is that in fact people just not hold interest anymore. He is no longer that genius that people know or care about. He gets talked a lot about, but he is also somebody. What keeps him in the limelight is that his story and his hair. Of course, you know this is famous. If you look at this is the big brain guy. He is the prototype. There was no mad scientist before Einstein, meaning there was no prototype for the mad scientist until Einstein came along, and he came up with this. We came up with a stereotype, just like people think of Brazil when you put fruit on your head, because Carmen Miranda, who was born in Portugal but moved and was raised in Brazil, and then went to Hollywood, became very famous, and she wore this dress from Bahia, which is the northern part of Brazil, which she made super colorful. She put fruit on her head because everybody thought of Brazil as a banana republic, kind of place. And that sticks into our head. We get these stereotypes, and so the stereotype of the mad scientist is, take a look at Back to the Future. The guy's hair's all over the place. What's his name? Kiko Michuka. All right, boy, I never remember that guy's name. He even looks like it. I'll go searching for him. I like to do that offhand, who's the guy? The Einstein-looking physics guy. I wonder if I can look that up and find who. No, I didn't come up. What's his name? You guys know. Some of my subscribers. Oh, we got our people here. They're staying around. The ancient Einstein theory is nothing new. EXL is still set like glue. That's my point. Einstein was a genius barking on a wrong tree, barking up a wrong tree. That very much so. What is his name? Kiko? Is that his name? Kiko. Oh, come on. The people who are like, the. Oh, I know. Let me see. I'll go to. Go to my website. There's a guy. There's our physics evangelist. I have on my Science Woke. I'll just go to Science Woke. There's a picture of him, and maybe. Oh, there he is, Michio Kaku. Michio Kaku. Thank you so much. I do not know why I don't know his name. Thank you. Actually, I like him a little bit better because when he actually did here we go. He actually did a video on could Einstein be wrong, and he seemed to be very. He seemed to be much more open to that question than, like, of course, Neil deGrasse Tyson, who laughed. And if you haven't seen my video on that, you should take a look at it. But there's Albert, and there's Michio Kaku. Michio Kaku. I don't like this guy so much. He doesn't seem too pretentious. But again, you can see here. Take a look at this picture. These guys are just. This is all fame. They're worried about the fame. They're worried about the image, right? I mean, that's why you see this guy. He's got that image. He knows that that's going to be attractive. That's going to be in the realm of the mad scientist, and that's what people worry about. I mean, there's look at this. I mean, these websites and pictures of these guys standing next to a board. Did he come up with something or not? I'm not sure that it really matters. These guys are getting up there. These guys are the equivalent of what today's journalists are on TV. It used to be when I was growing up, we watched Walter Cronkite, and the journalists at that time would get on each other's case because of people not telling the truth, being unbiased, lying about something when they're not telling what the truth is. Oh, here we go. Sorry about that. Make you guys yawn. And of course, today now they're owned by 6 companies, and they all have a message. They're told what to say. They can't do independent journalists, and when they do, they get literally kicked off. There's just lists and lists of people here in the United States in the mass media on television, which most of us don't watch anymore, who got kicked off. Now these guys fill in the same idea. I mean, he and Neil deGrasse Tyson. I mean, you can watch these guys when you look up, for instance, Neil deGrasse Tyson. I have an article about that. Let me go to Science Woke, and we're going to launch May 1st, folks. I'm saying that, and I'm saying to myself, we have to put a date. If I don't put a date, it ain't going to happen. But I continue to work on it. We're really I'm making progress. Other people are making progress. I'm filling in people that I know we need to be in there. For instance, like I put in Stoyan Sarge, Stoyan Sarge, yeah, and I also put in Ginsburg. Alexander Ginsburg, I think is his name. Put them in there. But anyways, let me get to the website, and I do have a article just about this thing. So let's go to the browser. Here we go. We'll go there. These are the top articles that I have on top. Again, here we go. Wanted. There he is. Michio Kaku. I should know that. Bill Nye, the science guy. Now, if you click on this, of course, you're going to go and be able to see the article I write on this, which is pretty much. I have another one where I talked about tripping. I've talked to you guys about that. But here, and take a look at this. I mean, this isn't. These aren't scientists. These are showmen. I mean, this guy looks like a magician. He doesn't look like a person who's a critical thinker. People. To take an analogy, you look at a Bernie Sanders. I'm not saying you have to like him or like democratic socialism, but if you look at a person like that, he just doesn't care about the fame. Yeah, he's got the funky hair, but I mean, it just wouldn't make. We make T-shirts that are sort of make fun because the guy doesn't want that image, but a guy like Neil deGrasse Tyson does. And one of my friends at work who follows our particle model by my father and I, he said, I read up on this guy, and he didn't win any Nobel Prizes, and I'm not talking about that. That's even prestigious. But it turns out he wasn't like a really successful physicist or astrophysicist, and he found a niche by going out there and talking to people and making them think. But this is what science is. I talk about it when the 10. If you haven't seen that, take a look at that. The 10 reasons, 10 misconceptions about dissidents that you hear from the mainstream, and so this is one of them. So. Anyways, I continue to work on this website, making it work in all its glory. I'm making getting more suggestions about the problems in science. I also have underneath here, not only just I didn't have all these subcategories. So, long story short, I've got people helping me out, making this work well. And of course, it says online science magazine for critical thinkers. So anyways, that's sort of what sorry about that, smashing my phone here. That's what this is about. So if you guys have any questions, that's what this is about today. I'm going to be getting off pretty much promptly, probably an hour from now, if I notice that a lot of times I get more people as the night goes on, obviously. One of the things is with people all around the world, I thought, well, these kinds of things, even though I don't track thousands, maybe dozens, maybe, people do come on, the subscribers come on because they're from around the world. I do know people as far away as Romania, and I don't even know where Australia is right now. What time is it in Australia? Rio de Janeiro, Sydney. Yeah, it's just noon there, so who knows? People on Saturday were watching from Australia. I know also people in Brazil have come by. I lived there, so they will come by. But of course, it's, to me, it comes down to we are gaining ground. We have more and more people who are not afraid to speak up, and that's why I hope our online magazine will in fact attract people. I'm going to squish ourselves here. Will attract more people to this area. We're trying to make it more palatable, like this. I told you I'd squeeze myself, but of course, right there, I just wanted to show you some of the things here. We have how our website's coming along. You noticed here, this is really interesting. I've broken down. I couldn't come up with a name because we have theories today that are sort of broken down into ether theories, by far the most popular. Lattice theories. There's at least a couple or three of those or four of those guys. Adam Lohr. I don't know. Are you here, Adam? I don't think so. But anyways, he's a lattice person. Particle theories. I got my particle theory. We also have somebody like Neil Adams. Even though it's what I would call a simpler theory, he doesn't try to describe everything that's going on. He just says that you're going to make. He's making protons and electrons out of, he's pair production, and he calls the prime matter particle or something like that. So that's a particle theory. And then another one I couldn't fit together, which were the people who are like. Here I go. Searching. Here we go. Got it. James Carter, who is in the, who's got his theory. He has his model. You can see there are actual structures. And so what it turns out that some people, and here's a model of atom. You can see that's Copernicus. Oh, he's got an atom up to 272. So he's saying, yeah, you can just keep building these things with his system. He has a whole periodic table. But he makes some structure. You can see there's a cycloron, so it sort of looks like a donut there. Well, these people are making models that I now classify as structure. So we have those theories. So if you click on the theories, you'll see all the people there. And I only had this. I'm putting a couple more in. There's Stoyan Sarge. What's his name? Oh, that's because I have these. I've got to put their name. That's weird. Look at that, guys. I don't even have the people's name, but maybe it's better that way because it just talks about their. Look at us. Look, those guys. Can you believe that? Trying to get in there. A bunch of hackers. We're not from Russia, though. Astoyan Sarge. There's prime matter particles. There's a lattice theory guy. There's what I call structures person, living universe theory with James Carter, universal force equations, rudimentary ether theory, one of the great experimentalists of our time, believe it or not, with a baby pool and his kids baby pool, comes up with some of the most, probably the most, in my opinion, most profound experiments we've done in the last couple hundred years, just with water. There's three-dimensional spiral string theory. There's expansion tectonics. There's autodynamics theory, which is a smaller, more precise, how do you say, more pinpointed theory. The universal cycle theory, which is of course a book, and universe theory. And of course, there's energy wave theory, which I'm a real big fan of. That is Jeff Yee. He's a newer guy. So all of these, but you can then come down here and find out who are the ether theory people. And I've been working on the programming of these, and there's the ether theory people. Here are the lattice people. I think there's only one in here. We've got another person coming. Particle theories, there are only 2 of us right now. But if you happen to have your own theory, you want to be here, just let us know. Structures theories, there's those people who are dealing with structures. And so the idea here is, obviously to get people to look at, get to know people. And then there's more people here. And then the problems in science, I did the same thing where you clicked on here. You can get all the problems. You just mouse over, or on your phone, you just bring it down. And then you can click on stuff like, let's see, relativity. We'll click on that one. Since we're talking about Mr. Albert. And you get to see problems in mainstream. And then, of course, we have articles that are related to problems in relativity. If you go to you go here, relativity again, you'll come to the same page. So these are still being edited, you can see. Oh, weird. Wait a minute. That's not right. Let's do this again. Let's see. Ooh. Topic. Oh, it shouldn't be topic. Dummy. See, I found an error in here. Topic. Let's see here. Quantum mechanics. Click on that. Okay, that one's going. Well, I got one wrong. I need to go in and change that. In fact, I better do that right now. Anyways, that's our website's coming along pretty well. Starting here, one of the ones I like a lot in this, which you guys will get to see, and we're going to get more and more stories, are the fighting big science stories. I've got Unsiger, Ricardo Carazani. I did a story on him. This one, Lucas's question, I got to get that. I've got to talk with him about it. I may just interview him on the phone, but I need to get that story. Kicked out of Wales. It was actually kicked out of the University of Wales, Stephen Crothers. I just took that from his website. Of course, I give him credit for that. Halton Arman's Fight for the that's Laurie Gardy, the fractal woman, who wrote that. So I think this is going to be the landing page and the place for you to find out about people who are science woke, and how to get that way if you've never heard about it. And that's why we have the problems in science, the scientists who are fighting and who are in the forefront, and the new theories. Those are the things people are going to want to know, because they're going to say, no, there's nothing wrong with mainstream science. Of course, all you people here know that's not true. Perimeter Institute. I thought I saw Fractal Lady donate money in a video by Neil Turek. Could be. Hi, Dave. Hey, Lisa. How are you doing? I need to... it would be cool. I've got to come up with a way where people can call in. That would be pretty cool. Then we can, have people call in and talk. But anyways, I think this is going to be a fantastic website. And once it comes out, I'm going to launch a new website, but that's going to be more for marketing to get other people in here who are not necessarily like you people who really like the science side, but who are, it's going to be a progressive and science at the same time, and I really hope to get a lot more people. But I don't want to do that channel until this other website is up, because I think it's really important for people to have a landing place. So, and for those who don't know, maybe if you're newer, if you haven't seen it, and if you haven't gone there, I do want to show you that on my my own website I have for this channel. I did put in, I should have done this a long time ago, the recommendations. And I'd say it faster, but it's taking forever to come up. Here we go. There it is. Keeping it like this so we can see it, because if you get it scrunched, it turns into phone stuff. Watch all the menus go crunch. So that's why I'm doing it that way, folks. But anyways, I have my recommendations here, and I'll tell you what books you can read, links to them. It's going a little slow. There's that super important experiment. I think one of the greatest experiments of our lifetime. It's in a pool, a kiddie's pool. And there's Neil Adams stuff, Glenn Borkert, stuff about my movie. And this is another movie. If you've not seen it, I would highly recommend you go there and take a look at it. It's the Universe and Cosmology question. I've talked about this before. You can watch the whole thing online. It's not going to win excitement awards. It's not like a entertaining film, really. It's an informative film. I know the director producer of this film, Myers, Randall Myers. There it is. Yeah. So I got to know him at the time he was making it, and he said he used to show it to make to have his friends go to sleep. Oh, we want to see your documentary. He put it up and they all fall asleep. So, But my movie, I guarantee you'll be very entertained, because that was the number one goal of our movie, to make it entertaining, and it certainly is. So if you haven't seen the movie, check it out. I will be coming up. I'm coming up on 100,000 viewers. If you want to wait, I'm going to give some more viewings away for free. I'm even thinking about I have some books from Glenn Borkert that he left the conference early, and I brought them home, and I'm going to ask him if I can give some away to my subscribers, and I will even pay to send them to you. So if you haven't gotten some of those books, I'm going to look into that. I think that may be an interesting thing to do. Alrighty, so Lisa, lounging with Lisa, heading to bed. All right, I would absolutely call in. There you go. Okay, well, I'll have to look into that. I'm sure there's like 1-800 numbers, but even that, I don't think you even need 1-800s anymore, buddy. You don't pay long distance anymore. I know there's Skype, and I think that's probably the way I can do it. In fact, I think, yeah, I could do Skype. I think even through this, all I have to do is get the audio output from Skype. But I think that's very possible. I wonder if I should try that. Anyways, I am here to Perimeter Institute. Greg Stewart, you were saying something about that. Is that something that's an institute? And there's not a whole lot of comments today. I know here in Florida, in the United States, there's spring break for the students. So my daughter's going on spring break this weekend, so we're used to a little bit slower. That seems to be happening. I know when you miss one appointment on anything, I've learned that, you absolutely can lose people if you're not there every week. And I do have, you know what I should do is I'll tell you, since you guys are here live, I'm going to tell you some of the ideas that I've been working on for upcoming videos. That's a good section to have, and I'll make like a new, have you seen my new entrance? Let's take a look. I got a new stinger. I think this is really cool. I think I like this one. I keep coming up with new ideas. Can't have them all the same. So take a look at my newest stinger that I'm going to be using for my upcoming videos. This one's been done for live, but you can imagine doing this just for my regular videos. Here you go. And we're live. No, we've been live, so actually about 45 minutes. Oh my goodness, I ramble on. But yeah, I think what I can do in Skype is I can actually pay a small monthly fee and have a telephone number. And then you guys can call that telephone number and put you on the air. That would be pretty cool. And then we can actually have conversations. All right, I'll do with Lisa. This is Tim Black takes phone calls on Fridays. You might ask him. Yeah. Hey, Lisa, I don't know if you're still listening, but like I said, I'm going to be launching a science progressive channel, news channel. Dave, come on, get a YouTube channel. And the idea is I know Nico House. I've talked with him. I'm going to have a meeting with him. So when I'm ready, I'm going to be actually I'm going to be talking with Nico House and Tim Black, because they have their own like just inform sort of thing, and they're looking for people to come on, and that whole new voice, I think, to where they don't know that they think it's only big pharma and big companies and big fossil fuels. Oh, this is what I'm going to talk to people. Oh, you can't say fossil fuels because the fuels that we're talking about weren't made by fossils. They're abiotic. They are not biologically based. They are manufactured in the earth. And those kinds of things. But really to bring there's all that big progressive movement and say, hey folks, guess what? Big physics and big cosmology are screwing people over. They are lying to the public. They have their same mouthpieces that mainstream media has. So that's going to be my thing. Oh yeah, thank you very much. Looks Pro, binary eclipsing star algo proves that the speed of light is not constant relative to all observers. Yeah, we have so many people. We have Alexander Unziger with his book, which I'll always never find. Let's see here. The Higgs Fake, that's not it. It's the Lost Einstein Keys. Here they go. Ta-da! If you want to read this book, Alexander Unziger, The Einstein Lost Keys, How We Overlook the Best Idea of the 20th Century. Guess what that best idea is? The speed of light isn't constant. So, there you go. Absolutely. So, evening. Hey, good evening. For F417H. Oh, I don't know what that means. Eclipses come closer together in time when the Earth is heading towards algo. Oh, that'd be pretty good. Hey, you should write a paper on that, or send that information to me, Paul. And take a look. I mean, I've seen lots of the stuff. I've probably read things, but my goodness, lots of stuff comes by my way. But let me tell you about some of the videos I'm going to be making. I did tell you that I will be having a new science channel. When we launch our Science Woke, I will make a science channel to get more people in this direction from the progressive movement, because I think we can find lots of comrades, because they're already critical thinkers and thinking, I wouldn't be surprised if big physics is a scam. I wouldn't be surprised if we really find out we need to throw it all away since 1930 and we're building billion-dollar particle accelerators that do nothing other than find what we pretend to, what we invent and then pretend to find them. So anyways, here's one, the photon. The photon, the idea, I think I've talked about this one, but I haven't made it yet, and that is the photon is something that cannot be, it can't exist, the photon. And the reason is that light has a frequency, and frequency requires more than one piece of information. one particle cannot impart a frequency. And so if you either have ether or you have a model of light that my father came up with, which is waves of particles coming at you, so that you need for light, for what we call light, you cannot have a single particle that's responsible for it. You have to have more than one. And I think that's where you say, well, Dave, that makes sense. No, it doesn't make sense, because if you look at it, we call something a photon, and that photon has frequency, and that's one of the reasons English, we have the wave-particle duality. So I want to do a video explaining that concept. It's not real easy, it's really subtle, but I think it's really important, because it's one of the reasons we were stuck, and then one of the reasons my dad was able to come up with something like that so late in the game. In 2015, the idea that light can be waves of particles, and we explain that in a very mechanical way, but it works very well. But that's one of the videos I want to make. They say you need oxygen when you yawn. I don't know if that's true, but anyways, the other one that I want to make, which is really, in fact, probably I'm going to write a paper for our conference coming up in June. By the way, come to our conference if you're on the West Coast. We have it on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if you can't even make it and you're close to the University of Washington in Seattle, just drive up, knock on our door, and come right in. Everybody's welcome from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from June 26th to the 29th at the University of Washington. And we're going to have an absolutely fascinating and fantastic person, which I really need to do a video on, and that's another one I'm going to do on, and that is on Dr. Gerald Pollack and the fourth state of water. Believe it or not, he was, chastised for that. In fact, I got to put that down. Let me put that down. Basecamp. We have a Basecamp, if you've ever used that. It's an online system. It's a little bit expensive, but it really allows us to organize tasks from people from around the world. That's the idea. And in fact, that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to add a task to this. So, let's see here. All right. So let's see, sign in. So Gerald Pollack is a person who found the fourth state of water. I've shown this before. He'll be at the conference, and that's going to be great to meet a great person like himself. So I need to put that in the fights to list. Let's see, fights with mainstream. Have I put that? Oh, I did. I've got it there. Add Gerald Pollack to the scientists in fighting big science. I already got that listed on our our organizational list online, which is good. So that's another one. But the big one, the big one, and it came from an insight my father. And if you have not subscribed to particle.guru, youtube.particle.guru, that'll get you to his YouTube channel. He's starting to gather people. He's been inching along, but now it's starting to pick up. He's almost getting a subscriber a day. I mean, that's how you start out. But he has been working on the particle model with me for 3 years now, almost 4. Let's see, 15, 16, 17, 18. Wow, 4 years with our particle model. It seems like just, Anyways, he describes in one of his videos about the similarity between the equations for gravity and for the Coulomb law, which is charges. There's a force of okay, I'm talking in abstract terms. I'm not talking in realities physically, okay? Listen, make sure. It's very important when you're a critical thinker, you know the difference. So you don't talk about magical things and make, magical things out of, nothing. You can't take a concept and make it a real thing. So the gravity equation an attractive force when you look at it mathematically, and the Coulomb's law is an attractive force for charge. And the two equations are very similar. And I came up with this idea, and I'm going to write a paper on it for the proceedings. I want to make it a formal paper in our proceedings, which come out every year with the CMPS, and that is that the idea to unify the forces is a bad idea. And the reason is because the reason we unify forces is because we didn't have a model that was unified from the beginning. And so what we did is we looked at the universe and discovered parts of it, and we wrote a piece over here, and a piece over here, a piece over here, and we had four forces: the weak and strong nuclear force, the magnetic force, or the electrostatic force, and then we have gravity. Of course, the nuclear one is sort of now said not to be subsumed by the other. But the idea is we want to unify those. Einstein wanted to unify them. Everybody wanted to unify them. Well, it turns out that's because I was looking at the foot of the animal, you're looking at the inside of the animal, the other person's looking from far away at the animal and herds of them. And so what the problem has been is that we have come up with mathematical descriptions of things that work very well in their realm, but they're not related. And then we try to take the equations and relate them. A good person to read who does that very well, actually two people do that very well, taking equations that were really in their own systems and own worlds for gravity. That was its own world, and people worked in that one. Or, the charges and the attraction of charges. Or in the subatomic world. All those, each one working in those. So two people who have taken the equations for those and tried to unify them, basically because we arbitrarily have these pieces of the universe we've looked at, arbitrarily have created formulas for them, that we actually then say arbitrarily, oh, we can put them together because they even look similar. So what I'm saying is the idea and the concept of unifying, didn't tell you who they were. Jeff Yee and Dr. William Lucas, or Bill Lucas. Both of those people worked very much on unification. But actually, they're not the only ones, actually, too. Ginsberg has done that. There's an Indian guy with, can't remember, 132, I don't know. He's got this number system where he can describe all these constants. And there are other models, actually, that do that as well. But that's an artificial thing. What it is, it'd be like saying, it is like saying, we have a human language in this part of the world that develops all by itself, another one in another part of the world that developed by itself, and another in another part. And when you put them together, guess what? They all have a word for grandma. They all have a word for mom. They all have a word for rock, because they all see that. So which one's right? Well, I've got to unify them all, and they try to do that in a language called Esperanto, which was the idea is they're going to take the best or worst or whatever of all the languages, make a meta prototype language, and that was the somebody's thesis somewhere. And then it's all linguists have to talk about that. I got a master's in linguistics, so I know way too much about that. But anyways. That is a paper I want to write. It's going to be a video I'm going to do. I think I'm going to really spend time to make a really well-edited video on that, but it's going to be a while. It'd be great if someday I'll have so many subscribers that I'll have like a Patreon or get some money where I'll actually be able to spend my time not making a living, only that I could to spend that time making some videos and spending some time in doing that. So, but anyways, I do plan to do that. And what's really, 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 really interesting is something, and this is where I got this whole concept from, was from my dad and I's particle model. When we take a look, we're writing a textbook now, and I'm writing the beginning part of the textbook. And the particle model is pretty simple. You have particles that are similar, and if they travel and they all travel in straight lines, or they hit something, that's all they can do. That's all our model's made up of. The whole universe is made up of that. So one thing, what we would call a field, a gravitational field, And we do call it a gravitational field. A gravitational field are particles moving in all directions. And that calls a gravitational field. And if you look at the gravity equation, we have a gravity equation for that. Not us, not our particle model, but Newton has a gravity equation. Then we have Coulomb's law, which looks really similar. Well, guess what? In the particle model, and this was not something that we did because we looked at Coulomb's law, the equation, and the gravitational equation, said, oh, they're really similar. Therefore, it happens that our model is an infinite model, meaning the whole idea of gravitation, for instance, all the galaxies, if they're traveling in random directions, if you don't believe in the Big Bang, which I don't believe in, and they're probably traveling in, they could be traveling in similar directions, or they could be traveling in random directions. Well, Dave, they tell us we know we can measure them. No, we can't go up to the sky, measure them, and say, oh, they've moved, because they're just, the movement's so minuscule, we're not going to see it in our lifetime. The problem is they use light and the color of light and assumptions to say that this is moving in this way and they are all moving in that direction. Why? Because that's the only way we measure movement. We don't take one day, here's the galaxy here, and the next day it's over there. But regardless, galaxies, if they are moving in random directions, they're creating a gravitational field for something above it. If there is some superstructure above gravity, and we are just, the galaxies are just particles, and they're going in, random directions, that creates a gravitational field. You go down one level, and for electrons to go around a nucleus, or what we call G1 particle, doesn't matter what you call it, for it to curve, it's got to have, it's like a gravitational field. Oh no, we've proved atomic models of the atom are wrong. No, they're not wrong, because the reason they say they can't be that way is because you put in charge. Well, we don't need charge. Regardless, I'm sorry, I get off track. Regardless, what happens is we have the G1 particle that is electricity and light and gravity and all that creates gravitational fields when they're in random directions, create light when they're in waves coming together, all traveling together like birds in waves, or they flow together, and that causes electrical things like electromagnetic fields. And so those things, and that's why you have light and electromagnetic, whatever. Those things are the fundamentals of our model. So if you look at the G1 particle, they keep planets together and bodies in our universe, our solar system, the stars in the galaxy. They are kept together at that level. What keeps nucleons together? What if you have 3 nucleons in the middle of an atom instead of you have 1, then 2, then 3? We know atomic structure. What keeps those there? And what keeps things orbiting around that? Well, it's got to be a gravity. Well, it can't be G1s because the G1s themselves are circling. You got to go down a level. So what does that mean? There's a G2 particle at the level, down level, that keeps the nucleons together. Guess what? We just showed that the same system, just at a different level, explains gravity, what we call gravity in our world here, and Coulomb's law, which is the attraction, or not Coulomb's law, the nucleus force, the nuclear force. So it's amazing that all we have is a model. We do not write equations for those things, and we didn't have to unite anything. That's all it is we can explain how it works, but it's not unifying anything. The universe is the universe. There's nothing to unify. And that's what this whole thing is about, is that when you have a model, you then can describe why Coulomb's law looks similar, because the attraction, when you have attraction of, for instance, a positive and a negative, what we call positive and negative sides of a magnet, that's because they have flows of particles different from gravity, but it results in an attraction. or a repulsion. But the idea that we have to unify that, there's no unification there. Our model describes all that stuff. But we don't have to write, we can write those attractions because it's real interesting for us, because we can predict things, we can manipulate things, and that's what, in the end, why we are scientists. But yeah, there is some noble thing to understand the way the universe works. That's great. But it's the case that if we have a model, and that model's really good, it should be useful, and we should be able to do things with it. So it's very interesting that the particle model my father and I are working on, and when I thought of how the similarity between the Newton's gravitational function and the Coulomb's law, they're similar, got me thinking, wait a minute, we're only unifying forces because we don't have a unified theory of those. We don't have a unified model of those. That's the solution. So that's something I want to do in the paper I want to do on that. Wow. Either people are listening to me or bored out of their skulls or doing something else and multitasking. Like I said, I do have people... there are times where I have people listen to me because they can fall asleep. Maybe that's what Lisa's doing with me. But yeah, I'm gonna have I gotta have call in. That should be really cool. It's 10:06, so I'm gonna go to 10:30, and we're gonna stop tonight. Wow. Good evening. Any more videos of those? There's this person wants all these videos. Yeah, probably. Well. There are probably videos that people have, and we may lose them. I have videos of her. You can see her in the movie. Have you seen the movie? Hey, Tyler Tom, have you seen the movie? All you need for frequency is a property that can be described by a function that is periodic in time. That's a good one. You want me to explain why that's the same thing I'm saying? Or I'll explain to you why it is. If you have a... Because I knew somebody would say that. Okay, Dave, you're saying that a photon is impossible. Well, that's not true, because I can have a photon with all these properties, and it's got a frequency and all that. Guess what? You can't make them magical in my world. I don't let you have magic. I don't let you have magic that says, in here, it's got a special, it's blue. And that's what makes, if there's a frequency to it, that frequency can be felt physically. You can't take and do what Alexander Unstriker says, is take arbitrary packets. This is an arbitrary packet. Okay. And put arbitrary attributes, then to do what you want, and then have that translate magically into physicality. So if you're going to imbue a particle, one particle that has frequency, then it probably is going to hit you with something undulating. If it's something undulating, then it's made of pieces. And if there's pieces there, then those pieces are then particles that then transmit frequency. So it's sort of like, well, the universe is very complex, so somebody must have designed it. There must be a designer. But of course, that's a circular problem, because if there's a design, if you say it's got design, it implies there's a designer. And to say that that's a consequence of it and proof of it, you can't. It's a circular problem. Same thing here. If you try to imbue a singular particle to have frequency, you end up making to then translate those imbued magical powers into that photon. You are going to then have to do what I say, and that it's got to have pieces, and those pieces have to hit you in different times. And no, you can't have something bend and do all those kinds of things and be a solid piece. That doesn't work. For anything to bend, for anything to modulate, for anything to even have a funnier shape, it's gotta be spit it out, Dave. It's got to be more than one particle. Oh, it says live 51 minutes and 20 seconds, but this one says 1 hour 13. YouTube's telling me it's weird. It goes to show you that a lot of times they'll do that on it. So what you see on a counter on a web page, they launch it and then they go, good luck. Just tick it off and we hope it. Man, that thing is off. I've been at 1 hour and 13 minutes, and that's more. Yeah, not quite. Oh, yeah. OBS is off by 3 seconds, 3 minutes, and YouTube is off by. It's time dilation. I've also seen her video on the CMPS channel. Yep, I've seen the film, enjoyed it greatly. Okay, good, great. If you haven't seen it, you really should watch it. If you are a critical thinker, you need to watch my film. It costs $3. Why is it? Because it allows me to make a nice platform to deliver it to you. I don't want to put it on YouTube. I don't like that. The people who invested in it, I wanted to have a sort of a nice platform, and Vimeo is a great platform, and it costs me a couple $100s a year, and I make a couple $100s a year on the rentals to pay for the ability for people to see it. So, all right. No more questions. No people asking questions. Man, I don't know. I'm getting different counts here as to how many people are here. I think things are not as they seem. I'm going to see here. But yeah, we're going to be getting ready for our conference coming up. I have a lot of the things that I've developed and my own ideas about how things work, and how we should look at multiple theories, how we should treat those and support each other for those. A lot of those things are really from this channel. I get those ideas from thinking about why would we want that? Isn't it the case that we should only have one theory? The universe is only one way. Therefore, that's the problem. The problem with polytheism, meaning more than one theory, what they say is that, well, there can't be, because that means we don't understand the universe. And we know that there are atoms, and these atoms have these characteristics. Once we know that, then there can only be one model. Not true. Not true at all. So, all right, let's see here. If I come back here, if we get updated what's going on here. There we go. Live. Oh, see, I've got 15 watching. I knew it wasn't updated. So, hey, Farouk, why particles are able to move? Simple. Depends on your model. The particle model says the only reason things move is something hits it, and then it makes it move. That's it. Movements all cause that. So what does that mean? It means what Glenn Borkert says. You have space, and that's where mass resides, and all mass is in motion at all times. There is no such thing as stationary anything. You can say, well, this is sort of stationary. All the books on the shelves are stationary, and they're all leaning against each other. But no, they're made of particles, and these particles have electrons whirling around the nucleuses, and so they're just made up of smaller things, and everything is in movement. And so if everything is in movement, then you have to assume that there is some movement that started. Now, the idea of where did the original movement comes from? No. What you have to say is those are assumptions, and assumptions in science are those things which you cannot prove, those things that you cannot give reasons for. You have to start somewhere. You cannot. This is one of the things you learn. If you've been around critical thinkers long enough, you realize that this idea that you can derive everything, you can't. And so what you need to do is say, like in our model, there's only one thing, there's mass, and it's in movement. And mass is made up of smaller pieces, and that's it. And they collide, or they don't hit something. They don't hit something, or they hit something. And everything from the universe, everything we can make in the universe according to our model, for instance, will do that. Whereas Jeff Yee's or Glenn Borkert's will do it in waves. They'll have particles, but they'll have waves. Yeah, we have sound waves. We have, we have atoms, and you're hearing me because of the waves through the air that come through and hit my microphone here, and that microphone then translates those into G1 particles or electrons and shoves them, not according to mainstream science. It turns them into holes of nothing that move in the opposite direction of electrons. I'm sorry. I can't. It's really hard for me to say electrons flow in a wire when I know the physicality of it can't be that way. It just can't be. Oh, why can't it be, Dave? Well, the reason is because electrons only travel feet per minute. I think not even that. Maybe that. And I think electricity goes a little faster than that. So, anyways, very interesting. Uh-oh, message retracted. Message retracted. Oh, there we go. Would a list of community agreed concepts, interpretations, would reason behind people would be a great topic. Yeah, actually, that would be a great topic. Should be writing some of this down. Great topics, yeah. My place is like a mess. And I'm not going to say the sign of a genius is a messy place. Genius doesn't exist, folks. We have lots of really smart people. But vocabulary. That's very interesting. In fact, you hit on something very important, Greg, and that is our organization over the last 20 years have come to agree about the vocabulary. And in fact, so much I have shown this before, and I think it's still around, and I think I'll probably... I think it's there. I'm not sure I can get it to it because I started this, and that was allowing people to define time, mass, and all those things. And we had enough people in our database define those online that I actually then made a dictionary where you can then look at all the definitions that people have for time, and all the definitions people have for mass, and all the definitions people have for gravity, all of those kinds of things. Now I'm going to look here to see if we have it, or if I may have taken it off because it's not done and I didn't want something messy to be seen. Ooh, it's here. I've got them. Oh, under construction. Darn it. I wonder if I have them there. Definitions, come on. Ooh, okay. Here we go, folks. I'm going to show you this. This is for you, Greg. Well worth it. See, maybe that's why you should tune in, because I don't do these things. But I'm going to show you. Right here. Definitions. So this is a database. When we had 2008, a little over 10 years, we started on our database, which has over 10,000 pieces of information, from scientists to books to abstracts to other things, including things like charge, constant, dark energy, electric charge, the electron. Look at some of these definitions: energy, entropy, field, force, gravitation, gravity. So when you get, and you are a member of the CNPS, you get a login, and in that login you're allowed to write definitions. You notice how this page really is just terribly displayed. It's because I haven't really worked on it in a long time. I've got old tables in there. Look at that one. Mass. A measurement of resistance of matter of motion, of movement. It's a very good one, actually. A property of matter measured by its resistance to applied force. Very good. See? Matter, neutron, photon, relativity, space. So people were free to put down a term and then write what they thought that was. There's time. Look at all the time here. Motion. I know that's Glenn Borkert. That's Glenn Borkert. T is an absolute scale. It is a man-made idea to measure motion. I think that sounds like my dad. Man's attempt to measure regular movement. I think one of those are mine. Pretty cool, huh? So this is under where you find this. You go to dbdatabase.history.org, and you'll get to our database. Then you go to scientists and definitions. I do have assumptions, but they're not there. Look at birthdays. Look at all these things I have here. And all the people have I found it was very depressing. A lot of the people I know have a birthday on my birthday. 1, 2. Oh, Peter Beckman, great scientist. Hohenberger, he's got the same birthday as me. Oh, and another person has a birthday with me is Dr. Edward Dowdy, the NASA scientist who says light doesn't bend, gravity isn't bending light. So all those people, and Neil Munch. Oh, Neil, I can't believe these people are gone. Anyways, pretty cool. All kinds of stuff. Oh, look at that. Farouk. You like that. See, look at that. Alrighty. I've got about 10 more minutes. If you have any other questions to see, yeah, that would be a great topic, is vocabulary, and talk about that. Can I find a growing Earth model? Where can I find or buy a growing Earth model? You mean like this? You know what I should do? I should tell Dr. James Maxwell. Look at this. This is so cool. You know what those are? This is why this is so amazing. This will probably be a ton of money someday. You know, my grandkids or something will sell this for an ungodly amount of money. Because this is signed by, ooh, I got to be careful. And next time I see him, oh, there it is. Come on, focus. Focus. Anyways, you can see there's a oh, there we go. Ba-ba-ba-bum. 7/12/17. And that was made by hand by the greatest geologist of, in my opinion, ever, Dr. James Maxwell. But what's really cool about it is it's got not only the seabed floor, because normally you just see the seabed, and then you can see the colors there. You can see where it's expanding, the seafloor bed, but it also has, on top of it, it's got, like here, South America, it has the geology of the continents, and that actually, he shows how it's expanded even that. That's where Neil Adams only goes so far back. If you watch Neil Adams' view of the expanding Earth, it goes and collapses down to when all the continents come together that we know today. Well, if you go and you read the most important geological book ever written, you can watch that, of course. I have a video on that. I will stand by that 100%. That in here, he also talks about before even that, and mass increase may even smaller, and so that you get clues of the geology of the top layers of the continents, and you can see expansion at the top layers. Look at this. I should do a video on that. Expansion of continents themselves. So if you take a look at this, let's just take a look at Australia, where he's from. Australia, there it is. Now you see the dark places. You can very easily see how Australia is made of like two big pieces and a couple pieces off to the one side, and that those could easily, that blue in the middle could easily just be looked upon as almost sea or expansion, and that those other pieces go together. And that was one of the things I said, that was one of my questions too. It was a good question. I'll have to pat myself on the back, hey. I said, James, I got this question. How can you reconstruct the continents before the seabed, the seafloor beds. How can you do that? What are you looking at? And he says, I'm looking at the continents and the composition. Really amazing. So I'm going to tell him, James, make these and charge some money. I'm going to have a question for you guys. Fractal Woman. IMHO. Hey, look at that. Hey, Fractal Woman. Einstein is my spiritual guide. I don't think it wise to speak of it, of those that came before us. I'm sorry. I mean, if you are saying that serious, I'm still going to laugh because, unfortunately, Einstein, to me, started in the most dangerous precedent and one of the worst precedents of modern science, and that was invention, declaring laws and then going and finding them. And that's what the 20th century's biggest mistake was. We became so arrogant that we invented the neutrino and proceeded to try to find it. We said the speed of light couldn't go fast, that we had to measure the speed of light equal for everybody, even though now we have great evidence about light is not a constant speed. And yet Einstein said it had to be that way, and therefore shoved us into this weird world of time dilation and mass increase and all kinds of stuff. So no, everybody has the right. In our group, you can love Einstein, think he's great, but I think he started a terrible precedent where I have a friend of mine who studied Einstein very closely and his work, and how he did not reference anybody. He also, as we all know, got a lot of help from his wife, who never got credit. There's all kinds of stuff. And so Einstein could have been a nice guy. He could inspire people, but he started a very dangerous precedent, in my opinion. What was I talking about? Explain the continents. I got off track. But anyways, great to have you. Bye, Fractal Woman. I should have showed you her stinger. Oh, I know what I was going to show you. I did have something before I'm going to go here. Let me show you a little video I did when Einstein's webpage and the Einstein Genius film was out, series was out on Nat Geo. I did a really pretty neat, I think I may have shown this before, but maybe it's on I have it on my site. I don't know. Maybe it's on my channel. Don't know. I think it's maybe on my channel. I'm going to go to my channel, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go to the memes. I'm not showing this because I don't like, no. That's why I don't like to browse in front of everybody, because you go all around. Okay, so I'm going to find my video. That is a meme with Einstein. Boy, I've got a lot of videos, 200 now. Oh, now I'm back in the videos where I didn't have all that stuff. Come on, did I do the meme here? Oh, I believe I did. There it is. Found it. 286 views. It should have way more than that. Okay, hold on. I'm going to show you this. Now this is going with the Nat Geo. So I was really upset about, our Einstein worshiping and all that stuff, and making him into an icon when we have no questioning of his work or his theories. So again, I'm going to show you this. Audio input. This is the browser. Okay, so I'm going to come to the browser here. There it is. Now I think it should have audio output. Let me know if you do hear this. I believe you will. Hey, that's actually pretty good, and I have to turn on the sign. I haven't seen that in a long, long time. I turned that off so it didn't come through the. I was listening it too, but I haven't seen that in a long, long time. That's pretty darn good, actually. I put together a pretty nice meme there. Basically, that's done with a programming, actually the same editing program, Final Cut Pro. I used Pro X for my movie, so I put that together, and that was sort of a rebuttal to what was going on, which they, of course, say this guy is genius and all that stuff. So yeah, but anyways, you can take a look at that. It's called Nat Geo Genius Einstein Wrong Meme. Got that? Nat Geo Genius Einstein Wrong Meme. So hey, share that everywhere. Share. But I only got 286 views on it. I gotta share that more. I haven't done that. Maybe I should even just pop it out there again because then people will watch it. That's a good idea, actually. I could just literally make a copy of it, and then now that on my way to 1,300, my goodness, it's just going faster now. Appreciate all the new subscribers, but let's see here. I should really get going. I promised be watching the movie, The Green Book. I haven't seen that one. My daughter's into theater and all that stuff, so I said I would take a look at that. But let me see if there's any more questions here. Let's see, Greg says, his theory I think were flawed and outdated and also dubious on how the way patent office when he was handed all the patent science claims, miracle year. All previous theories are going to be flawed. No, all theories are flawed. I'll go even further than that. They're all flawed. I mean, we can have better ones, more general ones, ones that predict more, ones that cover more coverage of the universe. Infinity does that. Fractals are infinity, so it does that. Just because someone has in the past been wrong doesn't mean you can't appreciate what we've learned from that. Yeah, you can learn from the Holocaust, and you can learn from war. I learned from Einstein how we threw critical thinking right out the window. I have just a very different view of it. And I think you see the effect that Einstein threw upon science for over 100 years. I'm going to write that down for a video. Einstein effect for 100 years. I mean, I talk about it, but I need to make a video specifically about that. I honestly think that I mean, coupled with the fame with Eddington going to Brazil and showing, supposedly showing that gravity bends light, and then everybody buying that, and then everybody, we got into that magical age. We were in the age of fame, instant fame, because even though it wasn't instant, it was maybe days or weeks, but everybody around the world knew of one person. And we just made a big fantasy of the whole thing, and then everybody else got the gumption to start inventing their things and pretending to look for them, like the neutrino, which doesn't exist, like W and Z particles, which don't exist, like quarks invented and they don't exist, and now the Higgs boson, which doesn't exist, and the methodologies where they go at it, where we're having particle physicists leave the profession, write books like The Lost in Math. You have Alexander Unskis saying we have to throw it out since the 1930s. He's saying that Einstein himself, I mean, let's look at it. Einstein, I think we're just, I don't like it. I do not, I get a bad taste in my mouth because of the precedent set. Do you learn stuff? Does it inspire you? Yeah, I'm sure the Germans during the Third Reich were inspired. They were inspired to create the first super highway they were inspired to be the first people to really launch rockets, modern rockets, with Baron von Braun, all kinds of stuff. But yeah, you can be inspirational, but I think in the end, the overall arching picture that Einstein, he gave us, no, he didn't. He put us on a path right now where we could be in science if we didn't go down the path of the world. Here are the laws of the universe. Speed of light is constant for everybody, regardless of its source. And yes, here's the other one that all physics is the same in inertial frames. And of course, we find out later by Categorizing, inertial frames don't exist, and they don't. So yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know if inspiring. I think the problem is if it didn't create the thing that we have today, which is a worship of this man, this idea that he has some super brain where we have to keep it in a jar. I mean, we have to understand, we have people who are very smart, but this whole idea of genius, in my opinion, is a man-made emotional need for us to think in this crazy world where nothing seems to go our way, nothing we would like the way the world to be, that somebody have the great thoughts and we can hold them up high. And I just think Einstein in 200 years maybe not even be on the radar. And nothing. He's not. It's not going to be like a progression. Well, we took relativity and we built on it. No, we're throwing it out. All the models that I see, there's no one holding on to this stuff, or even looking to it for inspiration. So I think we have to understand that, yes, like I said, there are great painters. There are probably great musicians, great movie makers. In the Third Reich, yeah, and you can say, well, the Third Reich had the... It's still the Third Reich. It's still a person who invented stuff that started a bad precedence in the 20th century where men, mostly men, unfortunately, who do the bad stuff, but human beings basically became super arrogant, and we were destroying the earth. I mean, we don't even eat the right foods and put it in our bodies, and we don't even know it. There's all kinds of stuff. We treat our fellow men inhumanely, at least in this country. I'm going to move to Canada, eh? I'm going to go there, eh? It's much better. All previous theories are going to be flawed. Yep, that's true. All flawed. Yep. This is their perfect theory. That is, there were a perfect theory with all the previous theories would appear to be flawed. Yeah. I wonder what the role Einstein played in World War II. I got the story from a friend of Einstein's. Literally, I interviewed him, Jack Rosenberg, and Einstein had a complex about the idea that people associated him with the bomb, and then he felt somewhat responsible some way for that, which was sort of weird. And even Jack Rosenthal thought Einstein was strangely morbid about that thought. Jack Rosenstein said to me that Einstein often discussed with Jack Rosenthal how he regretted certain things in science, and Jack Rosenthal said, "No, you saved my life," because Jack Rosenthal was on a boat going to invade Japan, where they were looking at 2 million casualties there, 2 million, and it would have been just ridiculous because of the way the Japanese were fighting. And so the atomic bomb, for good or bad, it just said stop it. It's almost like a parent coming down with a stick. It's terrible, but but that's the 20th century. The 20th century has this arrogance, and it's terrible. I wanted to be a doctor but didn't have some of the patients. Everybody's got them. Any plans to update on Dan's website? Hope you're having a good evening. Not right now. I do go back once in a while and will update it if I have a few minutes of time. But hey, Tyler, Tom, send me an email, david@dissidentscience.com, and if you want to help out with that, I'd be happy to accept your help. Critical thinking equals curiosity. Yeah. Innovation is rooted in curiosity. Yeah. Agree. Mass curves, time and space as a rule, but I think they are just a measurement tool. Mass curves, time and space. Okay. Greg, space is nothing. The idea, I look at linguistics. I've looked at it since 1985 when I got my master's in linguistics and started working with computers to try to understand language. So I spent decades of my life trying to understand what people mean by words, and I think that's one of the reasons I do this channel, is because I pay attention to that. You can't bend space. Here's what you may say. You need to change your phrase. You have to say, oh, there's stuff in space. It's not empty, and that stuff does things. But to say space bends, no. Space is the place where mass is. Space cannot be bent. Because the idea in linguistics across cultures, across isolated cultures, is that it's the place where things are. And that's where it exists. So this isn't a place. This book, it's not in the same place. It can't be right now. So be careful. Space cannot bend. Time cannot bend. Time is a concept we use for movement. It's something that's very useful for movement. But time is basically, if you look at it, it is movement. It has to do with movement. It makes no sense without movement. Has to exist. That's what time is. So just be careful when you use words, folks. Einstein attributes his success to curiosity. Look, I know lots of people in my life that have said pretty amazing things, or things that, were somewhat inspirational. But if you know what that person's done overall to science, it carries weight. It makes a difference. It's like if you meet someone they've killed 1,000 people, and then someone else doesn't know that, and they walk up and the person's really nice and talking all that. And no, I'm not saying that Einstein's killed 1,000 people. What he's done is he's killed millions of minds. He has infected us with this idea of magic that doesn't exist. He's infected us with the idea that genius really exists, which it doesn't. That's a human concept that we imbue upon someone. We seem to arbitrarily choose those people. My guess is there's a lot more geniuses out there that we would consider to be genius, but we don't talk about them. We don't know about them. So what I'm saying is that, Hitler was a okay artist. You could say his paintings are beautiful. I love Hitler. No. There comes a point to which a person's who is lauded so highly as him that, how many people have sayings that are very smart people that I know who have their own sayings? There's lots of people who do those. We just seem to listen to the ones we decide are geniuses, whether they are not, well, they're not, but what we deem those people. So that's what I think is dangerous. We need to take out all of them off the pedestal, all of them. And when I look at Aristotle, for instance, oh, he's a great man. He's a great critical thinker. I look at it as another human being that was critical. Is he better than me? Was his brain better than mine? Was he smarter than me? I don't know. Maybe he wasn't. I don't know. What's it mean, smart, anyways? The way I look at it is that, yes, there seems to be critical thinkers, and most people don't seem to be that way. They're really happy to go along with everybody else doing. Hey, everybody! The way everybody's going to get married is they're going to stand up and they're going to paint. You're going to paint your knees purple, and therefore, and you're going to dress everybody up the same, on the guys on this side and the girls on that side, and that's the way we do the things when you make a pair mating for life. And there's other people. I spent $300 on my wedding. I said I refuse to follow all these ding dong rules about mauve colored things but then most of the people, they do that. So yeah, there are what I call critical thinkers, real critical thinkers. And those people, when we meet, people, of course, all of my subscribers are critical thinkers, all of you. But what I'm saying is, we've got to tear down some of this stuff. We worship inspirational. No, listen, the most inspirational people to me, Einstein isn't one of them. Even though he has sayings like 1,000 experiments can show me correct, but one can prove me wrong. You know what's funny? Look up that saying in particular. You'll find out there's no real way that he was really quoted with that. Somebody put that quote in his mouth, perhaps. But see, that's the whole thing. We want to imbue these people. I'm a follower of... Don't follow anybody, folks. Listen to... I like to listen to Glenn Borkert. Although Glenn Borkert, to me, is one of the great scientists of our time because he put together some things that I think are very seminal. But then again, he believes there's dark matter. I mean, there's several papers that show you can describe all the movements you need with Newton. You don't need anything else. You don't need dark matter. But no, I don't know. They close their eyes and like this, and they don't want to see that. I don't know. So I have people I admire greatly, but he doesn't believe in expansion tectonics because his job depends on subduction. And so he's told me there's an immense amount of data for expansionism, but I don't believe it. So does it make me think his contribution of infinity and the 10 assumptions of science are lessened because of that? No. But I look at what he's given the world, and it's a positive thing. He didn't give the world this idea that here are the 10 assumptions of science and everybody else is wrong if they don't find it. And this stuff we're seeing in the universe, it's wrong. We're going to have to say that it's something else we're seeing because it's not following what I put down. Well, that's what Einstein did. If the facts don't fit the theory, change the facts. If the facts don't fit the theory, change the facts again. Sorry, my singing's not too good today. That's from the theme song written by Michael Ruggieri for my movie, which is probably the only Dissident movie made ever to have a theme song and a music video. I haven't seen it. It's pretty cool. Kidnapping of. I get trash for that still. You're so disrespectful of Stephen Hawking. He was handicapped. Well, I look at Stephen Hawking not as a handicapped person, but a capable person who, unfortunately, the only good thing about it, he admitted that he was wrong with black holes, turning them into gray holes, and he said, what we thought about black holes, I'm throwing it 30 years out. I have to give him credit for that. I do. That part of it is a critical thinker. Alrighty. What good is a man if he can't be his own friend? Ooh, wow. People deleting stuff. Okay. Einstein states that C is a constant. Why in his relativity factor he uses C minus V if constant? Good question. Well, man, you want to read all kinds of stuff. Ask C plus V, C minus V. Ask Ron Hatch about the 0.56 picosecond difference that perhaps is solved by adding V to C. Oh boy, does that just blow up special relativity, huh? Could particles be changed in space itself? Again, space itself, I don't like that phrase. Throw it out. Don't use space itself, ever. Because what happens when people, it's called a reflexive. A reflexive is when you state something and then you state another word that reflects back on itself. So space itself, it's called a reflexive pronoun. And that reflection means, I want to emphasize it. See, this thing itself, or by itself, this thing. And when you say that, you're making it a thing. If you say space itself, space is this weird concept where we're going to have to just accept it's empty. Everyone who's saying that, you need to change your phrases. That's why I'm your science therapist, and that's why you're here, is because you have to change it. What you need to say is, there's stuff in space, and that's where it's happening. That is, when we're looking out into outer space between us and Mars, there's a lot there. We just don't see it. There's particles from the sun being blown away, which are nucleons, protons, electrons, whatever you want to call it. There's light. Yeah, the space is full. But then when you look at the full part of it, mass, it's made up of space. And so you never find the mass in reality. It's a wispy ghost. But you have to start somewhere. You have to. But you can't start with this idea that I think space could be. No. Space is the place where mass is. It's not. No. It's a place. In that word means it isn't a thing. Okay? It's where mass is moving. So keep away. If you want to say, oh, but space, no, then you have to say space is full of this and this stuff does it. Okay? That's what I'm saying to you. Writing things down is place where stuff happens. Yeah. Ending space. Okay, I'm writing notes down. Give me good ideas for some, maybe some smaller videos here. Time is a measurement between the past and the future. It's a measure of movement. If you want to call it past and future, you can. If you want to call it a mile away and a mile further, you can. But I think you can't make time that, because that's a specific interpretation of a movement, and you're talking about the movement of being where something was. I'm not sure. It's not easy. That's why we just have to stay away from it. We can't get hung up on time. Time has to do with movement, and there's distance involved, and distance has to do with space, and there's X, Y, there's 3 dimensions. Let's keep it at that. We're lucky. We're just still trying. We don't even have an agreement on what's happening with the double slit experiment. We don't even have an agreement what light is, folks, and we're worrying about these, very, esoteric things sometimes. But you got to be careful with them, though. You got to be careful. Life travels in waves, and once they leave a moving object, they only depend on their velocity and medium they are moving on in, depending from the object. That's if you're an etherist. That's a good description for ether or lattice. It's not a good description for particles. So, again, you see how everything you say, I will look at. That's why I'm your science therapist. I'll take your phrases and I'll rip them apart to find out, to make sure you know what the thing that you're saying, what it means. Okay? I'm not here to criticize in any way. You guys are absolutely great to be critical thinkers, even to be here. But I'm not going to lie to you. When I see these phrases, I'm going to try to best tell what's going on. Wow, I pretty much got lots of science. Oh, look at that. I've got 2 thumbs downs on this already. I only usually get 1. There's one person out there, and I think I know who they are, that always gives me a thumbs down. But I think there's at least 3 or 4 of them. But I do pretty well. I've got some videos that have 20, 30, 40 thumbs up. But of course, my most popular video, the 10,000 viewed video, that one is 3/5 versus 2/5. So but the positives are winning still. Boy, that's really weird. For some reason, YouTube just decides on my phone not to update how many people are watching. Oh boy, I have now 4 minutes before I go. I do want to say thank you so much for all the new subscribers. I like I said, May 1st is our launch date for Science Woke. I'm hoping Fractal Woman, she's going to write some more great articles, because she really is a good writer. I love her writing. And she's got a new logo that I made for her, so make sure you subscribe to Fractal Woman. Lisa Hausman, who's just one of my viewers, and other people who have, let me know about your channels. I'll make a shout out for you guys. But I really do appreciate everybody's, patronage in the sense of coming by and supporting this channel. It is growing, which is really great. I'm really happy with that. I think people are ready for listening to this because I think so many people think it, but they don't know what to say or know how to view it. And of course, I have 20 years of being around, in my opinion, some of the best critical thinkers on the planet. Knowing even people like Fractal Woman, she is just really a great. I love talking with her. I hope you gotta come to our conference, Lisa. So please. I keep on thinking of the names. I'm terrible at names. I'll call Lisa, Laura, Gardy, Miss Gardy. Please come. I enjoy our conversation and your talks immensely. So if you have any questions, if you want to help out with anything, let me know. If you are a scientist and you have your own theory, let me know. I will be happy to talk about it. I've just, like everybody else, so time is divided. Hopefully we'll have more time in the future to do more stuff, but I try to make at least 1 or 2 videos a week. I've been a little bit amiss on that because of my work, my regular work, and also other things that I'm doing. So, but I do try to do this. I will take the time out, and like even tonight, I could have easily said no, but I decided nope. I want to put these out, and I do get good feedback from these videos because I guess the stream of consciousness. A lot of times I'll talk about things that I won't talk about, like videos I'm going to do, and things. I don't know. It's just it is a different beast, but I really do appreciate it, and I thank you very much for everybody's support, and suggestions, send them my way. David at dissidentscience.com. And if you haven't seen this, if you came on late, I will show you my new stinger, which sort of is the beginning. I need one that's the end. I got to do that too. I've got to make a ending graphic, especially for the live stuff, so I can end it and stop. But what I'll do is I'll do the start one. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty cool, and I will see you guys later. And remember what I say. I'm going to stop. I'll say that when I'm done. Here's our new stinger for, in case this is our live stuff, but it's going to be very similar to what we have for what I'm going to have for my videos coming up. Yeah, a new one. So thank you very much, folks. And remember what I always say, stay critical and stay thinking. That's the most important thing. I am your science therapist. Let people know about this channel. I'm here to help you become science woke, honest to goodness. I have no other motivation. I am zero into ego. I wish we had all critical thinkers so that when I went to parties, I could talk to people like you instead of listening to somebody whose aunt's being beaten by their husband, their third husband or something like that. I'm not into that. I'd rather talk about a new model, or argue what time is, or even tell you that space-time isn't something, but something more interesting, something like this. So let people know about the channel. Ciao for now.